today I would do the recording in the garden. We've got another lovely day. It's not too hot, it's very sunny, and I know there won't be many more days like this, so I thought I'd sit outside and do the recording. So I really wanted to talk a little bit about joint pain or sort of inflammation and pain in general as well. Now, you may have noticed over the weeks that I do have problems with my fingers, and little finger is natural, that bend is normal for me, but I do have what appears to be osteoarthritis in 4 of my fingers and a thumb joint, and it varies how much it plays up, and it's very much consistent with how I behave, what I'm eating, how I'm feeling, and what I'm drinking, all sorts of things like that, and particularly stress can also exacerbate it hugely. So mine started about 9 years ago. It was after one horrendous year of high levels of stress. I'd lost my mother, and dealing with all of that was very hard. And I remember waking up on Boxing Day morning, the year later, turning over in bed and touching the bed with one of my fingers, and I nearly hit the roof. The pain was phenomenal. And at that time I had no swelling at all, no indication of any problem. So that was really unpleasant. And then the next day, the whole hand became inflamed and painful. And then the following day after that, the other hand joined in. So this was really rather odd. And I did see the doctor. She said it's osteoarthritis. I wouldn't believe it. I thought, why would it be? Because even 9 years ago, the belief was that it's wear and tear on the joints, and I thought, well, I'm too young for this, and I haven't had wear and tear on my joints, not like my mother did. She was a touch typist before we had electric typewriters, so or even computers. So she really did take some pounding on her fingers, but I hadn't had that, and I thought, this is ridiculous. Well, we now believe, I say we, that the science now suggests, and I have to say, even doing a bit of research for today's video, there's still reports that osteoarthritis is wear and tear on the joints, and it's not true to my understanding. It may be part of it, but it's an inflammatory problem, and it could be an autoimmune problem. And I hope you can't see the dirt on my glasses. They're very dirty. But anyway, there are things that set me off. I know that I have to be very cautious with alcohol. I do like a glass of wine, but Christmas time, which is when this kicked off for me, there's more excess, not only with alcohol, but with high sugar foods or high fat foods, you know, the whole excess. So I have to be very careful at certain times when things are, the not so healthy things are on offer. And I tend to avoid those anyway most of the year. But that's one. But the stress also, it really plays havoc with your immune system. It really downregulates all sorts of systems of your body. So there's that. And of course, 9 years ago, I was going through the perimenopause, and it's possibly not so well known, but when our estrogen levels drop, we can be more susceptible to inflammation. Inflammation levels can go up. Our control of it is not quite as good. So for us ladies in our, I'm including myself in this, us ladies in our middle years, going through perimenopause, and I'm well out the other side now, this is something that maybe we haven't thought about, but maybe we should consider. So today I really want to talk more about food. For those of you who followed me before, you know that one of the things I really want to do is try and help people with quick, easy tips to get them on the right track. Most women going through the perimenopause middle years are busy. They don't have time to go through the full background of what it is and da-da-da-da. So I'm going to be brief, I hope. That's my aim. And try and give you some information that may be of assistance. So there's various things, inflammation. I mean, we know when we get to mid-years, there's greater increase in metabolic dysfunction. So that's things like cardiovascular and diabetes and things like that, blood pressure, that kind of thing. We know greater incidence of cancers. And inflammation comes into all of these. We do need inflammation. It's a major part of our immune system, and when it's under control and working as it should, it is important and vital for us. But if it gets out of hand, then other issues can occur. So we want to try and keep it under some sort of level of control. And I'm already aware that there's so much I could say, But what I did was I pulled out an old document I produced, I don't know how many years ago. I didn't date it, unfortunately, but it's about inflammation and foods that may help us with this and those that probably can't. So let's have a look. Yes, I wanted to read you one little quote that I put in this document. The National Institute of Allergies and Infectious Diseases reported, while today's modern diet may provide beneficial protection from micro and macronutrient deficiencies. Now, macronutrients are fats, proteins, and carbohydrates, and the micronutrients are the vitamins and minerals, basically. Just to give you a little rundown, our overabundance of calories and the macronutrients that compose our diet may all lead to increased inflammation, reduced control of infection, increased rates of cancer, and increased risk for allergic and autoinflammatory disease. So that's a quote from the National Institute of Allergies and Infectious Diseases. And that is something that's been, in my arena for a long time. So I thought that was quite a good quote. And their recommendation, which is also in alignment with my beliefs, is to get away from this sort of unbalanced Western world diet that we have that's so highly processed. So get away from the processing that includes so many of the inflammatory promoting foods. I use that word loosely for some of these things, towards the ancient eating patterns of the Mediterranean, which is mainly fresh fruits, vegetables, very little red meat, lots of sort of omega-3 rich foods, and very much back to nature, seasonal, fresh. So I want to just sort of give you a little idea of why this is. They are rich in antioxidants, so that keeps the oxidative stress at bay, which is in alignment with promoting inflammation. So antioxidants are really our friend, and these fresh fruits and vegetables are abundant in those. They're full of vitamins and minerals, and this is really important. Minerals, as I will talk about. I've got a spot on my glasses. I want to clean it. And essential fatty acids. So they're the three main areas we're really looking for. And I want to talk about the top 15. So let's have a little look. So the very first item, that rumble you can hear is actually somebody moving the dustbin. It's not thunder, I hope. So yes, the very first item on the list is green leafy vegetables. Now these are rich in flavonoids and antioxidants. I'm going to let them go past first. So the first item on my list is a group of green leafy vegetables, and these crop up all the time. Now they're rich in antioxidants, which can help support the repair of cellular health. So if damage has been done, they can help it repair. And then they're also rich in anti-inflammatory flavonoids as well. So they're full of vitamins and minerals. There's a huge amount that they give us, and they are, I would say, fairly easy to include in our diet. So you can put leafy greens in your salads. You can have leafy greens steamed, stir-fried. I've got chard, spinach, and kale in the garden. And you know, we've got rocket to go in salads, arugula. And Swiss chard is noted as one in particular. They're best cooked, actually, these spinaches. Spinach, chard, and kale, that kind of thing, are best cooked because there are some other compounds which can be irritating. So I think lightly steamed is the best way to deal with those, or stir fry is ideal. And they're quick. During the week they're very quick, which is great. My next one is actually Bok Choy, sometimes referred to as Chinese cabbage. And again, this is very rich in antioxidants and vitamins and minerals. and they can again help clean up and reduce the inflammation that's potential in the body. My third one is celery. So not always everybody's favourite, but celery has quite a lot going for it. Again, antioxidants and anti-inflammatory, but it's also an excellent source of potassium. And one of the things that we need to be careful of is the balance between sodium and potassium in the body. Now, we need both. The sodium helps take nutrients into our cells, and the potassium helps us get rid of toxic waste from the cells. And so if we've got them in balance, we've got good stuff going in and the waste coming out. But if they get out of balance, it could be that good stuff's going in, but the waste isn't getting out. So that can cause a problem. So celery, being rich in potassium, and loads of these vegetables are, is really useful. But that's particularly a note on celery to help flush out these toxins for us. Next one is beetroot, and the beautiful colour of beetroot is also an indication of its antioxidants that it contains. And again, this is also down for helping repair damage to cells. It's also very liver supportive, which can help us get rid of the rubbish, the toxins, help get those out. And it's also very rich in potassium and magnesium as well. And magnesium is one of those minerals that we can be rather low on as we get to middle age. And that's men and women. And it can be particularly helpful for sleep as well, to help us relax and unwind. And if we have got sore joints, having magnesium-rich foods can really help us there as well, that relaxation. My next one is broccoli, and that comes as no surprise. Broccoli is on the list for everything, isn't it? It's anti-cancer and full of benefits. Again, possibly better likely steamed for many people. It's got anti-inflammatory, as all these foods do. That's why they're in the anti-inflammatory diet. It's also rich in potassium and magnesium again, and I find it really useful. You can easily steam it. You can sort of rice it like you would cauliflower if you want to have it as a base for something else. You can stir fry it. It's fairly quick to cook, so I think it's a good one. And I have been known to eat a whole head of broccoli on its own with some sesame oil and toasted pine nuts. So it was absolutely gorgeous. And my next one, again, one of our favourite fruits is blueberries. There are plenty of fruits out there that can be beneficial as well, but this has been noted for the quercetin compound that it contains, which is also found in onions, and this can help us fight inflammation as well. So blueberries, frozen ones, keeping them in the freezer, having them with your yogurt in the morning. You can throw them into smoothies if you like a smoothie. You have it as a dessert or a snack even. And it's also noted that consuming more blueberries seems to slow cognitive decline and improve memory and motor function. So other benefits that we are interested in as we get older. And then my next one is pineapple. And this is full of a compound called bromelain, which is really helpful for digestion. And this is one that is often recommended for people with digestive issues. So it's also an anti-inflammatory food, of course, and it can help us regulate our immune response that so often creates unwanted and unnecessary inflammation. And that's the key, really. It's the unwanted and unnecessary inflammation that we may suffer from. So pineapple. Number 8, I know, is salmon. It's in here somewhere. I've got my notes, which are in turmoil. Number 8, salmon. Oily fish in general are very good. And it's the essential fatty acids that we find in here, the essential omega-3 fatty acid, which has been shown to be incredible as an anti-inflammatory compound. Now, it's also known to help lower the risk of diseases such as heart disease, cancer, and arthritis, which of course is a joint issue, which I'm interested in for sure. The source of the fish is important. A lot of salmon nowadays is farmed, which is a marvellous thing that they can actually do that. But they do feed them on less natural foods, and the wild salmon have greater levels of omega-3. So if you can look for wild, I find it mostly frozen at the supermarket. Fresh tends to be farmed nowadays. Finding wild fresh salmon, I find, is not so easy in some of my local supermarkets. Some of the better quality, or no, I shouldn't say that, some are slightly more upmarket, should I say that? Don't know. Supermarkets, you may find it more readily. In fact, you find different foods in different supermarkets, or the same chain of supermarkets. You find different foods in different areas depending on how they feel what their clientele wants. So that I found quite interesting. Moving from Loughborough to Nottingham, there was quite a difference in the food. Far more organic in Loughborough than I found in the same supermarket chain in Nottingham. So yeah. My next one, number 9 on the list, is bone broth. Now, in my day, we called this stock, good old-fashioned chicken or bone stock. And it's full of good minerals from those bones of the animal. I tend to do chicken. And one thing I forgot to mention last week when I made my apple cider vinegar, I add it into the pot when I do a bone broth. I put a little bit of apple cider vinegar, which is reported to assist the extraction of the good stuff from the bones. And I do find it's more gelatinous when I do that than if I don't. So that was something else to do with apple cider vinegar. So this is very rich in minerals that the body can easily absorb in this way, and it's great for people recovering from an illness, great for people perhaps with some sort of digestive issue or leaky gut. I think this is one of those lovely key foods that can be beneficial. It's rich in calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, silicon, sulfur, and many other things. It can contain chondroitin, sulfates, and glucosamine. Often you find those in supplements, which I think food is better. But these can all help reduce inflammation and really help with joint pain. So I find that quite useful should I need a boost. Number 10 on my list is walnuts. And again, they're a good source of protein. They're rich in omega-3, essential fatty acid. And they're great added to a salad. Just sprinkle them on your green leafy salad, put in some olive oil, which we know has many benefits, and it's a great way to use them. I have them with my yogurt in the morning with berries. So I mix berries, some mixed nuts, sometimes seeds, and I find that incredibly, I find it very satisfying actually. So I used to think it wouldn't be enough, but it is. Number 11 is coconut oil, and now we know that we can absorb some compounds more easily when we've got fats present, and so when you have herbs with oils and spices with fats in some way, we do absorb them better, and therefore we can access the benefits more easily. And this together, they can create quite a strong anti-inflammatory effect. So particularly mention, if you think about sort of Asian cookery with turmeric, I'm going to talk about turmeric in a moment, and they use sort of coconut oil with turmeric warmed through in there. It helps us absorb it. So yes, same again, antioxidants, reduce inflammation. Is this of use? Yes, and it also says, oxidative stress and free radicals are the two biggest culprits of osteoporosis. And coconut oil can help fight free radicals because of its high levels of antioxidants, and therefore may be beneficial in those incidences. And of course, osteoporosis is one of those potentials that we at middle age really want to avoid. And I use it on a daily basis. I do use it as a body moisturiser actually after a bath, but I use organic for cooking, stir frying, and if I need to cook anything sort of if I put vegetables in the oven to roast, I generally use coconut oil and find it very good. All right, sorry, the wind's picked up and used my peeper. So my next one is chia seeds. So the first of the seeds here, chia seeds. Again, it's a good balance of omega-3 and 6 in chia seeds. And so the omega-3 is the anti-inflammatory and the 6 is more pro-inflammatory. But we do need both. We need them in balance. And chia seeds seem to give us that. So we've got the antioxidant, anti-inflammatory effects from this. And some of the essential fatty acids plus vitamins galore. And minerals as well. So chia seeds are quite a good one to add. And again, sprinkled on something, stirred in something. I made the chia jam recently with blackberries, and it becomes quite gelatinous. So quite useful. Also known to help regulate cholesterol and lower blood pressure, has been popped at its door as well. My next one's flax seeds or linseeds, wherever you live, it's one or the other. Again, very rich in omega-3 and great fibre as well. And it's for women of our age, it's known to be one of these phytoestrogens. So this could be beneficial with the anti-inflammatory potential. It's antioxidant, it says benefits for anti-aging, hormone balance, and cellular health. So this is a goodie, and I do like it. But the best way to use this is buy the seeds, keep them in the fridge, or nuts and seeds, if you don't get through them quickly, keep them in the fridge because they can go rancid, and we don't want that. And I buy them whole, and then I grind them. I have an old coffee grinder that I don't grind coffee with anymore, and I pop my seeds in there and I grind them. And so I can have them fresh, and I sprinkle that on. Generally it would be at breakfast time, which I have to get some more because I've run out, but you could put them on a salad, you could sprinkle them on a soup, I'd stir them into something after it's cooked so you don't damage the good compounds in so many of these foods. Add it after, but I think that's really a good one, flax seeds, particularly for us in our mid-years. Turmeric. And we know there's been a huge amount of research into turmeric, and it's been incredibly good. And this is something, if you keep the spice in your cupboard, use it within 6 months if you can. You can buy it fresh. I can order mine from Riverford. I'm not sponsored, by the way, by anybody. So, but yes, Riverford, you can get fresh turmeric from them. And one thing to do there is you can scrape the skin off with a spoon. You can grate it and freeze it in portion sizes. It does stain your fingers. It would stain the unit top. So I would process it somewhere where you don't mind getting a bit of mess. And if you've got white countertops like I do, I'm very careful. I tend to do mine in the utility room, which is just a very basic rough surface there. So. But turmeric, the curcumin is what we're after. It's incredibly anti-inflammatory. The journal, I noted this one, the journal Oncogene published, now Oncogene is to do with cancer, the results of a study that evaluated several anti-inflammatory compounds. It found that aspirin and ibuprofen are least potent, while curcumin is amongst the most potent anti-inflammatory and anti-proliferative agents in the world. So nature has given us a huge medicine cabinet. We're just losing our knowledge and ability on how to use it, but turmeric is one of those very good, and particularly mentioned for rheumatoid arthritis. Some people make a poultice and put it on topically. You will go yellow unless you protect yourself. But it is incredible. And my number 15 on my anti-inflammatory foods to include is ginger. Now, ginger again has been used for its anti-inflammatory benefits, oxidation properties, and it's known to help as an immune modulator. I'm falling over my words today terribly, aren't I? And it basically calms down an overactive immune system. And it's been used in Ayurvedic medicine for many, many years to boost the immune system. And it's because it's got that sort of warming benefit. That's often mentioned as one of the reasons why it's so useful. And it is incredibly, if you do have any sort of circulatory issues, having a nice warm ginger tea can really help. And it's great in puddings, it's in stir fry. I like adding some to a hot chocolate in the winter months. I use cacao powder, and I might grate in some fresh ginger. I also have a ginger oil that can be taken internally, and it's brilliant, and it can help. It says here, break down accumulation of toxins in your organs and help cleanse the lymphatic system. So there's a lot of benefits laid at the door of ginger. So I would include that, and it's a lovely flavour, great to calm the stomach. So a lot of these foods actually help promote good gut bacteria, and they are very active in our inflammatory response as well. So they can help keep it under control as well as exacerbate it as well. So feeding them the right things, they help us. So that's my top 15. And I'll just mention the ones to avoid, the foods to avoid, the pro-inflammatory foods, processed foods. Just try and weed them out of your diet. Start with one meal. If you have something processed for breakfast, start working on fresh choices for breakfast, and then work onto your lunch and then your dinner. Bit by bit, it's much easier to swap things that way than to try and do it all in one go. Saturated fats and trans fatty acids together, again, mostly in processed foods. Saturated fats have some, we do need some, we just don't need too much. So I don't want people to be afraid of fat, but to be still cautious about the amount they eat. But the trans fats and the hydrogenated fats, you don't need them, and they can be very pro-inflammatory in the body. As I say, mostly you do find them a lot in processed foods. And then the next one is really the simple refined sugars, granulated sugar, all sugars that, all these sweet foods we find, all the biscuits, cakes, blah, blah, blah. And also refined carbohydrates, so white flour products. Again, these can be quite pro-inflammatory. So trying to just swap over to whole grain versions. Fermented sourdoughs tend to be much better and far less inflammatory. So they're the ones to go for. And then on top of that, managing your stress is important, getting good sleep, and having a good regular exercise routine, keeping the joints supple because you're moving them. And but we haven't got time for a quick one. It's already 20 minutes in. We don't have time really to go through everything. I have a small audience, and I'm terribly grateful to you for coming and joining me. I think that we've got an opportunity as such. If you want me to go into more detail on something, if you'd like me to go through, one lady showed very much quite a lot of interest in the situation with dementia and memory, and I do have some wonderful books on that, particularly the one about the end of Alzheimer's, 36-point plan. There are more points now. I could go through those, not all in one go because there's too many, but if you'd like me to do something like that, I can just sort of summarize each of those chapters and perhaps share that. That might be useful. Let me know, because I do want you to get benefit out of my videos. I enjoy doing them, but if you don't get benefit, then I'm not really doing what I aim to do. So yeah, your feedback is very welcome. So thank you for joining me today. Please share this with somebody who might benefit, and like and subscribe if you wish to, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.